If you've done much traveling around Indiana this summer, you've likely noticed a lot of construction. It may be frustrating when it slows you down, but routine maintenance helps keep Indiana's highways and roads safe. The problem is the future funding for those repairs remains uncertain. As Barbara Brozier reports, the federal dollars many states rely on for capital projects have been running low for years.
We rely on them every day. Roads that cover more than 12,000 miles in Indiana. But the money that helps pay for repairs and maintenance is running out. The Federal Highway Trust Fund helps states pay for construction and maintenance of roads. In Indiana, federal funds make up a little more than half of the state's $1.8 billion transportation budget.
What NDOT does is it initially will bid the contract, will pay the contractor, and then seek reimbursement from the Federal Highway Administration to repay the amount that the feds owe us.
But if the fund dips much lower, those important reimbursements could be delayed.
Should there be an interruption in federal highway funds, the impact would not be immediate because it's on a reimbursement basis. There will be a little bit of a delay, but certainly over time we'll begin to feel those impacts.
We have to do something about it.
Congress isn't letting it get to that point just yet, but it did come close. They had a midnight deadline today to act on a new bill that would prevent any lapses in highway projects. Yesterday, they passed a 3-month funding extension. That's only a temporary solution. Critics say while it's better than nothing, it still puts states in a tough spot.
What it has caused the state to do, and many states to do, is to find other ways to come up with short-term enhancements to keep going what we're doing now. So Indiana, over the past 4 years, has appropriated $600 million in state general funds to make up for its shortfall in transportation funding.
Many are hopeful Congress will pass a comprehensive multi-year bill in the fall that will not only extend funding for highway projects, but come up with a more sustainable revenue stream for the Highway Trust Fund.
It's been underfunded for years. It's taking in about $15 billion less than is spent each year on roads. So there has to be a general fund transfer every year just to make up the shortfall.
Every time you pull up to the pump, you're helping to pay for the Highway Trust Fund. Its revenue comes from the gas tax, but the problem is fewer people are driving and cars are more fuel efficient, so it's no longer enough.
There's lots of debate going on about the best way to address the revenue problem. Some say one easy way to bring in more money is to increase the gas tax.
Probably until they figure out something better, gas taxes need to be increased to the amount we need to spend on our roads. Long term, probably something like a vehicle miles traveled tax, that you would be taxed for the actual number of miles you drive.
Others argue legislators need to take a more comprehensive approach and look at all of the options available.
A good transportation system is about moving people and goods. It's not about favoring one particular mode of transportation. You want to do it in the most cost-effective, efficient, and environmentally sustainable ways.
There does seem to be consensus regarding one aspect of the Highway Trust Fund. Legislators need to work hard to find a long-term solution so states can build and maintain good quality roads.
Historically, it's been a long-term bill, 5 or 6 years, and we'd like to see them to come back to that because that really gives the private sector the ability to invest in employees and equipment when they know that there are projects on the other end that they can go after.
The U.S. Senate did approve a 6-year highway funding plan yesterday, but the House won't take the bill up until the fall because they're in recess. Senator Dan Coates voted in favor of the bill despite colleagues shooting down his proposed amendment. Coates wanted language written into the legislation that would have guaranteed Indiana got back 95% of its contributions to the trust fund. In a statement, he said, "While I was disappointed my amendment was not adopted, it is more important to ensure that Indiana has the long-term certainty our state needs." Senator Joe Donnelly voted against the bill because he says Indiana would only get a rate of return of about 91%. He released a statement saying, "I will continue to fight for the best interest of Hoosiers so that Indiana gets its fair share in federal highway funding." As we mentioned, Indiana is seeking its own ways to boost transportation revenue. The Indiana Department of Transportation is in the middle of a 2-year study to determine feasible alternatives. Those could include increasing the gas tax, imposing a tax for the number of miles driven in a year, or tolls.